Girlfriend, let's break free from those toxic patterns that are holding us from living our true desires. Hello, I'm Veronica Rosa, your emotional wellness host, and I'm back. I've been gone for 2 weeks. All of a sudden, life just like voila, I started manifesting desires by no longer reacting in toxic ways, and I'm gonna teach you how or um how to become mindful of certain patterns that we may have that may be blocking us from living our true desires. So hello, I'm back. Guess what? So 2 weeks ago I was on a roll with with doing these my emotional wellness segments, the Empower Her Wellness. So this channel is for women who are not happy in love, in their physical health, or in their finance, and they just want more for themselves. So we're gonna break free from old belief systems, old emotional blocks that are stopping us from getting what we truly desire. And I personally started this for sure about 6 years ago is when I really got a um a habit tracker and started tracking myself and my habits. I stopped sabotaging my true desires for love and physical health and wealth. Um and I'll talk more about my story because I got my husband's permission to share my version of the story. He may have a different version of the story, but girl, I have so much to share. Woo! Where do I unload? Girl, I am exhausted too. So, so much to share. Before I start, I'm gonna log into my website, my YouTube channel and make sure that you can hear me because I don't have a moderator right now. Let me just log in here. Yep, I hear myself. Let me just log in here. And you see my background. Welcome to the cabin. I'm in the cabin down in Naples, Florida. It's cute. It's cold in here. So much. We have moved. I went on a 8 week cruise, a carnival magic cruise with my mother. It was so empowering. There's so much in within that, just me going that is so uplifting, so empowering, and something I want to share with you and hope that you also find the courage to change your pattern so that you're no longer sabotaging your true desires and you can manifest great things. Like, oh girl, we got business going. My husband is like went from toxic to healed. He's not even like broken. He's not even acting like in broken tendencies. He's like acting all healed and holy and all nice, and I'm just like looking at him like, is this true? It really worked, girl. It really worked. Actually, the women's wellness workbook was actually intended because of him. He broke me down. I mean, we were two broken souls when we got together, and and then we just became extremely toxic, and it broke us down to our core, where you just get down on your knees and you're questioning God why, and begging for forgiveness and wanting to change, and having to acknowledge and recognize our patterns. What is it in me? Why do I keep um experiencing the same negative outcomes? And a lot of that had to do with being triggered through my spouse, through my husband. Give me a second. So yeah, um, where do I start? So the emotional wellness workbook, if you do not have your own workbook, it is now available through ebook. Go to my website, vitalityvalueswellness.com, and there is a link there for you to order your ebook, your workbook. Your emotional wellness workbook will help you identify emotional blocks and then find key factors and characteristics that you want to work towards to break free from sabotaging your true desires for love, money, health, and wealth. And so, oh yeah, and 2 weeks ago, this is how great it is, girl. I got braces. 2 week about 2.5 weeks ago, I'm here minding my business, not here in this house, in my old apartment. And my husband says, I'm gonna go get go to the dentist. And I said, oh, I need to go too. I need a teeth cleaning. And he's like, okay, I'll be back. And he left. Before I knew it, he called me and he was like, baby, you have an appointment tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And I was like mind blown, because in our toxic days, he would never make an appointment for me. Why? I don't know. Maybe insecurities, maybe just, I don't know. There's a lot of things where, as a man and a woman, sometimes the subconscious, there's a lot of fear. Oh, if she looks good, she's gonna look good, she's gonna leave me, or that's not my job to do, or there's a lot of toxic mindsets, and why that would not be. And so that was like the first, like, not the first, but I would say in the last 2 weeks, like, a lot of shifts within my husband he has gone from reacting in toxic ways to being like, he just went from toxic to being like healed. And I have cheat sheets for you that's not in your emotional wellness workbook that I'll be putting up, that will help you identify in your emotional energy center, also known as your chakras, what part are you unbalanced? Let's use the words unbalanced. What parts are of you is being toxic, and what parts is just showing you being healed? And when I started portraying the healed version of myself, my husband was like, "You don't love me no more." Because I wasn't being toxic with my jealousy, and where are you? And he confused that toxic behavior with love. And so throughout this, like, the past 6 years, I've really been diving in, asking God, asking for signs, um for the information. And so within the last 6 years, I created the emotional wellness workbook that helps you in 3 steps. The first steps will helps you identify where are your emotional triggers that may be from your own trauma, or passed on trauma from our parents, grandparents, that they went through, and they taught us learned behavior. So I help you identify where your emotional traumas. And the second phase, I help uplift you, girl. Uplift you um with assessments to help you understand who you are. A lot of it too for me was, I would call myself a drama queen. Oh, I'm so sensitive. Now I realize that's a gift. My sensitivity, I'm empathic. I am a reader. I'm a lot of things, but now I learn how to lift my vibrations and embrace my uniqueness. And I will also help you do that through various self-awareness assessments, and also the natal chart. A natal chart is a birth chart of when you were born. It's your name, birth, time of place. It's kind of like a snapshot of the planets when you were born. And just like when there's a full moon, all the ocean, there's high break comes in, and there's high tides, and like certain parts of Florida will flood. And when there's a new moon, all of the water goes all, and you can walk into the middle of the ocean, and the ocean will be like to your ankles. And so that's just like the forces that subtly in our subconscious can move us through our planet placements, our natal charts. And so understanding these, like, what I first began, when I was really toxic and began like going to AODA and therapy and all that, it was like my aha light was, oh, what was that? I'm an introvert and he's an extrovert, and that's why I feel this. So now we start identifying certain aspects about ourselves, and then learning how to use that to the best for our benefit. And then also learning, okay, what am I not? And then learning how to be a little bit more of how, your non-dominant characters. So like for me, I was very introvert, scared, didn't know how to use my voice, insecure. And so through like Leadership Wisconsin and various other programs and trainings that I've done, and mostly like for my husband, because he's an extrovert, he's taught me how to how to um how to be outspoken, how to be confident with my voice, and so on and so forth. And so those are little things, little examples of how I will help raise your vibrations. So identifying the emotional blocks and then raising those emotions from fear, doubt, worry, stress, resentment, hurt, victim, to love, trust, love, trust, truth, um why can't I think of all the positive things? And that's what it is. That's the devil and God. And so I help you identify where are your values, where are your morals, and help break free from the fear, doubt, stress, worry, to joy, love, trust, communication, and so on and so forth. I don't know why I can't think of all the positive um emotions. And so how do we break through from that? And then my favorite part is turning dreams into reality. That's where I like thrive at. I can look at somebody within like 5 15 minutes, and I'd be like, oh, you're good at this, let's start you a business. And I have helped a lot of people, oh, let's start you a business. Or as long as I'm there running and putting things into order, they run along with me, with run along or go along with it. But then I find that the foundation, the internal um trust, confidence is not there, so then everything falls down. So we do this in 3 phases. First, we heal the self, admitting the truth and acting accordingly. And then we start practicing acting in different ways and then speaking in different ways and rebuking negative thoughts, because we all have negative thoughts in our head, and rebuking those negative thoughts so that they're not sabotaging our dreams for love, for money, for physical health and wealth. And so through all that, this is, I believe, the fifth episode on Empower Her Wellness. So through this lives that I will be doing Monday through Friday. I'm gonna probably try to do more now in the next couple weeks to get me caught up, since I was gone for 2.5 weeks due to all of a sudden my husband was like, baby, I made you an appointment. And I went for a teeth cleaning, and they're like, oh, and my teeth are straight, they have gaps in it. And they're like, oh, well, last time we suggested that you would have, and my husband what happened to have his dentist cleaning appointment at the same time, and he came in, he was like, oh yeah, yeah, get, how much are you gonna charge us for? And he like took out the money, and he was like, yeah, put them on her right now. And within 24 hours, I have braces. And then my mom called, and she was like, "You're coming with me on a 8-day Caribbean cruise." And that was, I mean, in my past, my grandmother passed away, and when my grandmother passed away, we were so toxic. I couldn't even, I wasn't working. I had no money. My husband was working, so I would have had to depend on my husband to, financially take me or join me, or it would have been easy if I would have said, "Mom, I need some money. I want to go." She probably, I'm sure the family would have helped me. But I was broken. I was so broken then that I didn't even go to my own grandma's funeral. A lot of it was because emotionally, I knew that emotionally I wasn't going to be able to handle going back home to Arizona, seeing my family, seeing my grandma, attending her funeral. It was too much. Plus, leave my husband home, and he's being toxic, and he's gonna do who knows what and all that. Like, that's how broken and toxic we were. And so this, for me to get up and say, bye, baby, I'm leaving you. after he like is like fixing me up with the dentist and all that, and saying I'm going on a vacation with my mom on a 8-day cruise, on a booze cruise, on the fun cruise without you. That was a huge, huge, huge step. And so it was very empowering. It's very woman empowering. My mom has helped empower me, and this is what this channel is about. It's about women empowering women, about breaking free of old patterns that no longer serves us, that comes from history, from our culture, from from our religion, from our communities. It Especially now, I'm 42 years old. Like right now with the whole Diddy thing, just like my eyes are like stuck on glue on all of the podcasts and everything about it, because it's what I grew up with, and this is what we endured. A lot of us women have endured um abuse, and it was like, you put it under the rug and you don't talk about it, dig your head in the sand. And now people are speaking up, people are being held accountable. In my situation, I had a few, not just one man. There was like two, there was like three or four, maybe five, maybe even more. I don't even keep count anymore. For the longest, I started drinking alcohol. Yeah, when I was like 13, I started dating an older man. I was like 13 and I was like 14. I met him in the mall. I said I was older. He was older. He was probably like 21, was buying us alcohol. So at seventh grade, I was skipping school to go hang out with this guy. And my mom found out. She sent me away. And so there was like, I have a history with this one older man that reminds me a lot of P. Diddy and R. Kelly and all that. So there's a lot of triggers. There's been a lot of triggers lately, yet at the same time, it's very uplifting and empowering to be where I am today. And I created this emotional wellness workbook for women like you, women who are struggling, women who just sometimes even women who don't even wish for a different life because they don't even know how that they have the opportunity to wish for a different life. People who are just in survival mode, women who are just in survival mode. This video, this book is for you. Again, you can go to my website, vitalityvalueswellness.com. I'll put the link in the description. And you can purchase your ebook so that you can start your own healing on your own pace. And then if you want to work with me one-on-one, you do have an opportunity to schedule a discovery call, so it's a free 1 hour call. We can talk and see, where are your emotional blocks, and then how I can help you break free from those emotional blocks so that you can manifest a dream life. Girl, I'm living my dream life. I'm 42 years old, and in 6 years, um 6 years ago is when I really started putting these actions into practice. One being journaling. If I could go back to my storage unit and show you my journals and show you how I had this vision, and my husband was not even part of this vision, or he was part of my vision, but um like in my vision, I was like, I want to have a house in Puerto Rico. He's from Puerto Rico. um but there's no way he ever thought about living in Puerto Rico. It wasn't until about 4 years ago he had an accident, and that accident changed his life for the better. It humbled him. He started, he had to rehabilitate himself physically. And through that, it was emotionally, and then financially. We went from being evicted to, well, first we went from having no jobs, to being evicted, having the cars repoed, to starting our own business. Around that time, I was taking my integrative nutritional health course. And so right after that, I began, I started my business as a life coach, vitality and values wellness. So I was, as I'm doing that, being a trailblazer, now I had like the steps that I needed to like help him. And so, and that's a big part of this, is that we have to stop seeing ourselves as being victims. And even though we are being victimized and being hurt and all that, we have to stop that, and stop sabotaging our desires by reacting to what we are living. So 6 years ago, he was like, he thought he was top dog. 7 years ago, we got married. We moved to Florida. He had a job, I didn't have a job. So I went from having a job, cars, because I had my own nail salon in Wisconsin. So um I sold my car, sold my stuff, got rid of the business, got married, and came and moved over to Florida with him. And he was making like $25 an hour, and he thought that he was doing something big at the time, um because he was getting paid a lot less in Wisconsin. However, the cost of living in Florida is not that great. Plus, when his baby mamas found out that he got married, they said, "Ah, you want to get married? You got to pay for this child support too." So he got hit with a lot of things at the same time that we got married and moved, that put a lot of pressure on him. And so I want to talk about these certain scenarios, so that we can break free of belief systems that maybe are not really in alignment for our true goals, which a lot of the United States right now, old beliefs is like the woman cooks and cleans and does all this. But nowadays, the woman has to work, the man and the woman have to work in order to pay the bill. So those are belief systems that no longer serves. It just doesn't work. Okay. And so we're going to talk about what are like those belief systems that we think as a good woman or a healthy woman should do. What does a good woman or a healthy woman do? So when I got married, to me, a belief system was a healthy woman or a good woman, a good wife turns in her power. And that's what I did. Girl, I gotta drink some coffee. It's 5 o'clock. It's like, oh, I'm exhausted. So I thought I was being a good wife by turning in my power. I literally was like, I'm gonna sit here and cook and clean and wait for you to come home. And I was just like cleaned. Okay, I'm bored. And I was like collecting every dust before he got home, had food made. And and it was like I was waiting for him to come home to make me happy. I had like turned in all of my power. I was no longer going to the gym. I was not leaving the house. And so I got really depressed, resentful, and just became a rug, a doormat. And and although he liked having the power, um, it became a power struggle when I started to realize, wait, uh, um, I'm putting too much. First, it happened at different stages, but it came to a point where I realized that it's not his responsibility. Basically, I like let go all of my masculine energy and was being only my feminine energy. And so I was unbalanced. My emotional energy was unbalanced because my belief that that being a good woman or a good girl or a good wife was not being masculine at all. And the masculine part is like the go the like the physical, like the go-getter. And it doesn't mean that we have to be in competition, but something as simple as going to the gym, that became a power struggle. Because when I lived in Wisconsin before we got married, I had my gym memberships, um and I would go to the gym. It started as the gym started as my place to go instead of going to the bars. So I started to go for my mental health. When I got married, I turned in all my power, and I was sitting there waiting for my husband to get home to take me to the beach, to take me to the gym, to take me to outside of the house, period. when after about 2 years of of being in distress, um crying, just being a floor mat, my husband had even like he became extremely toxic, even more toxic, more controlling, more domineering, and he even asked me for a divorce. And so it was around that time that I started like questioning, okay, like what am I doing wrong? I thought I was doing everything right. I'm giving him everything. I'm giving, I was like, I was giving him part of my soul. What more do you want? And I realized that that was what was wrong. It was wrong with me. And as much as I was saying, you, I'm giving you all of my soul and my being, and you're treating me like this. Really, it was when I was pointing like this, I had these three over here, and it was really me. And so I had to start making these changes. Over the last 6 years, I really started paying attention to my habits. It started with my physical habits, like what I'm eating, exercising, not drinking alcohol, not eating sugar, basically like doing like liver detox and eating healthy and eating right for my type. And my husband's home now. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna put a pause. Give me 1 second. I hope that works. Mama? Oh wow. I was doing a live, so I'm just gonna fix it up, okay? Don't worry about. So I hope that pause work. We'll see when I come back to the live. So my husband's home now, so let me get through this fast. And let me just be quick. Where was I? So taking my power back, and taking accountability, which today's topic, we're gonna just go through two traits that I was able to heal. And one was taking accountability, and the other one we're going to talk about is emotional regulation. And those are two huge ones. So when I got married, I thought being a good wife was turning in my power. I didn't realize that that was actually putting more stress and more I love you. I didn't realize that I was putting more stress on him, and he was already stressed with the work and his kids and his mom and all that. But also too, when I gave him my power and I tried to take that power back, it became a power struggle. And so it came, the one of like the most simple one was going to the gym. I was sat there for like 3 months and I didn't leave the house. And I was like, you know what? I don't need him to help me get in fit, because then after 3 months of being home, I was getting frumpy. I was gaining weight. I slept all day. So I had a lot of resentment. I was bored. And so then he would come home from work and he would go hang out with his friends and, go to the bar, get on his motorcycle, put the smell good, looking good and everything. And I felt victimized. I had a lot of resentment. What did I do? I called up my girls. Hey, girl, let's go out. Let's go to the bar, screw him, and be toxic. And so that's what I'm going to help you tap in is to those, patterns that were reacting from hurt, and saying, okay, I know you hurt me. I'm not gonna personalize this. I'm not gonna go sabotage or go I'm not gonna be resentful, and I'm going to um be healthy and react in healthier ways. So One of the first things was, accountability. So setting up a daily health tracker helped me become aware of my patterns, my eating patterns, my exercise patterns, my detoxing, like physically, right? My physical. After I started like physically, if you look at your the circle of life, this is the circle of life. You see, there's health, creativity, social, relationships, finances, occupation, education, home environment, home cooking, spirituality, joy, and physical health. So this circle creates our circle of life. And so each category or each segment can take years. Like it took me a big couple years in each segment to go through, so my physical health and what am I eating. The creativity was the journaling part, journaling and the social wellness. I'm just now getting into that now with, being more social and like on this live and doing events like retreats and whatnot. So it's not gonna all happen all overnight or in a day. We're gonna chop it up and we're gonna figure out, okay, what part of that circle do you need the most help with. And so what I like to do first is do the spiritual, because the spiritual is our emotions, our subconscious, our belief systems, all in a bubble. And so where do those emotions and belief systems come from? So when he would come home, get dressed and leave me to go to the bar, I was like mad angry, and I was like, I'm gonna show you and a girlfriend you, I'm gonna get drunker than you, I'm gonna, and all of those actions were sabotaging my true desires for love, for good marriage. um and so accountability, I want you to think about two different let me see, did I have, I don't think I've, okay, well, I can't find it right now. I don't think I've uploaded to my computer yet. But I want you to think about um, two different traits. Yes, I do. Okay, so in your emotional wellness workbook, you have this page, healthy, broken, or toxic. And this is what we're going through. We've already gone through self-love, empathy, communication, boundaries, and today we're going to do accountability and emotional regulation. And then the next one will be supportive and growth in mindset. Okay. So that's where it's coming from in your women's wellness workbook. So now we are at the part. I want you to think about two traits: accountability and emotional regulation. And so let's just start with the emotional regulation because that better ties in. For emotional regulation, mm, I knew that alcohol was distorting my thoughts, my emotions, my aggression, my anger, my fears. It was only like adding gas to a fire. So I knew that to emotional regulate, one of the things I had to stop was stop drinking. I had to start saying no. And as much as it hurt me to see him come and get in the car and leave and go to hang out and come all messed up, um I couldn't indulge in that anymore. I couldn't engage in that. And that was one thing that brought us together, was alcohol and partying, that brought us together. But we came to a point where we were so toxic that that was no longer serving my highest good and my desires for at the time I didn't know what was the difference between healed, unbalanced, and broken. I just thought there was like real love, true love. And so taking accountability. So where are you on the spectrum of accountability? Are you healthy or healed? Are you broken or unbalanced? Or are you straight up toxic? And it's okay to be toxic, because honestly, through being toxic it's a form of survival. It's a form of surviving. And but we no longer need that. We don't have to be in survival mode. We're gonna go from surviving to being leaders of our own destination, to being leaders where our body, our person is like a business, and we're going to take charge of our business instead of reacting to things as they come. So let's explore how accountability manifests in relationships through these three different lenses: healthy, broken, and toxic. So understanding these can help us recognize our patterns towards healthier relationships. In a healthy relationship setting, taking responsibility for actions and mistakes will demonstrate as the following. So I'm going to use Jessica and Ryan as the example. Jessica and Ryan prioritize their accountability in their relationships. So when Jessica makes a mistake, she acknowledges it and takes responsibility in her actions. She apologizes to Ryan and makes an effort to rectify the situation. Ryan, in turn, appreciates her honesty and is willing to forgive and work through issues together. This is a mutual accountability, straightens their relationship and it helps build trust. So the key traits is acknowledges mistakes, takes responsibilities for their action, apologizes to make amends, and builds trust to strengthen the relationship. So that's how it looks in a healed and healthy scenario, which we're so much right now is so healed and healthy. I'm loving it. So weird because in the past is I wouldn't dare even start you alive knowing that it may possibly be coming home, which I don't know. It'd be anywhere from 3 to 5 to 6, you know. And now it's like I'm stepping into my power, handling my business, doing what I have to do. And he's coming in and he's being respectful and, trying to stay out of the spot and sending me love. And it's way different. Before he'll be like mad, angry, and like, um, yeah, so different. And so it takes us to be the trailblazer that even though they may be acting toxic, let's be the trailblazer and show them. And it's taken me some time, but honestly only 6 years from when I really truly began to like hold myself accountable with a daily habit tracker. And first it started off with just 7 things: no smoking, no drinking alcohol, no drinking carbonated drinks, no more than 30 grams of sugar a day, work exercise for 30 minutes a day, or the other, do one task that would get me closer to my goal. So like I was studying, learning something, and I can't remember the other one. um but those all seem like insignificant, but those little steps of holding yourself accountable is help gain self respect within myself, self love, a self confidence, and through that it made him, you know respect me more and hold himself to his own actions and accountability. And it hasn't been easy, but it slowly starts transitioning the scenarios to better outcomes. Now we're happy, we moved to a different home, we're traveling, we have a business that's making us a lot of money. We're like happy to see each other. I mean, things are wonderful, they are great, and they can be for you too. You can switch a toxic household like him and I had and be healthy. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to leave the person that you're with, because that was a big part, was like, well, why don't you just leave him? I couldn't just leave him. He's a soulmate. He's my soulmate, my soul love. And I at the same time it was like, if I left him, it's like I'm abandoning myself. It's like I had to show that I loved him by show that I love myself by not rejecting somebody else. So these are things that happen in the subconscious, and through belief systems and old patterns that we are either born into or we live through. So in a broken relationship, for accountability is gonna be blaming others, avoid taking responsibility. It will shift the blame onto the partner and creates resentment and unresolved conflicts. So that's what we don't want to do. And that's, and I don't want to say unfortunately, but in reality, that's like normal. That's the majority of people, we are broken and we don't even realize it. And so, again, in a ship, it stems from a survival mode. It may be not even me being in survival mode, but it may be that my mother was abandoned as a child, and she was in survival mode, and so she learned these habits that she taught onto me, and now we're no longer in survival, have a need for survival mode, but we're like, nope, then we become toxic, where we deny our actions and mistakes. We become aggressive in shifting blames onto other people. We become defensive and hostile, which erodes trust and respect. So I want you to think about your accountability. How do you handle accountability on your Women's Wellness Workbook? Or if you want to do a screenshot there, where it says accountability. Do you take responsibility? Do you blame others? Or do you deny your actions? And so this is going to be a an indicator of what part of you needs to be healed. Okay, it's not to judge or criticize or to be hard on yourself or say, oh my God, I'm toxic. Who cares? You're toxic. Now to start working towards a healthier version of you. So now let's just break this down to emotional regulation. Um, Healthy, broken, and toxic. I'm not gonna go through each scenario of the three different types because I think that's kind of boring. I did that in the last 4 videos and it just got really boring. So I'm trying a different style here. But the main point is that we're understanding and we're capturing the 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 habits and our patterns, and we are able to identify, oh no, I'm healthy here, I'm broken here, I'm toxic here. Okay, this is the toxic and the broken parts are the parts that we're going to start focusing on. And at the beginning of the year, so from now until to the end of the December, we're going to go through the Women's Wellness Workbook so that you can identify, oh, these are the parts of me that I want to work on. And then at the beginning of the year, we'll do an assessment to and say, okay, for the next 90 days, I'm going to focus just on this part. And then after that, we're going to focus on that part. And then after that, we're going to focus on that. So by the end of the year, you have been holding yourself accountable for certain aspects in your life, and you have should be able to see growth within yourself. And by doing that, by putting actions into your intentions, that's how you manifest love, wealth, money, physical health. And so emotional regulations. Let's explore how emotional regulations manifest in relationships through these different lenses. Again, healthy, broken, and toxic. Understanding these can help us recognize our patterns and work towards healthier relationships. So let's explore how in a healthy relationship, in a healthy relationship setting, balance and effective management of emotions will demonstrate as the following. I'm going to use Rachel and James as the example. Rachel practices healthy emotional regulation and can manage her emotions effectively. When she feels upset or frustrated, she takes a moment to breathe and think before responding. Rachel communicates her feelings to James calmly, constructively, explaining why she feels a certain way without blaming him. This balanced approach allows them to resolve conflict peacefully and strengthens their emotional react connection. And I know this one could be very hard because there's a lot of different elements that go into that. um like depending if you're like an aggressive, passive aggressive, or assertive person. And that's also like the three different balances between healed, unbalanced, and toxic. Toxic would be like aggressive, unbalanced would be passive aggressive, and healed would be assertive communication. And there's a lot of emotions within that, emotion, regulating your emotions. Where does that fear come from? So we're no longer coming from fear, doubt, distrust, hate, resent, and we're coming from love, trust, faith, joy, love. um um and so, how do we get there? By changing the mindset, the belief system that no longer serves us. Oh, I'm dumb. Oh, I'm stupid. Oh, I'm so sensitive. So we're gonna watch our language, the internal dialogue, and rebuke all the negative thoughts as you would talk to your best friend. Girl, no, you're not. You're beautiful. You're strong. You're confident. And sometimes not sometimes, at first it's fake it until you make it. We fake it until we make it, until we start building self-love, self-confidence, and self-trust and worthiness, and um trust and communicating your needs. And so for me, emotional regulation was the number one. I thought I was a drama queen, but now that I have embraced it, I realize this is my gift. And this is how, by regulating my emotions, I've been able to create a book that now I can help others regulate their emotions. And by regulating our emotions, we can manifest our true desires and our dreams into reality. So in a healthy relationship, this person's gonna take a moment to breathe and think before responding. In the past, I'd be like, F you. Maybe I'm not even saying F you, I'm punching before I can even think. So communicating my feelings and calmly and constructively before I didn't even understand my feelings. So for me, essential oils have been a huge tool for me to help emotional regulate through essential oils like lavender. It helps to promote mindfulness. Not only does it help promote mindfulness, you breathe it in, it comes up to the part of your brain that releases like the hormones that will relax you, so that you can identify the emotions. Not only that, I have a, where are you? Ya me lo robaron. That's an inside joke between my mom and I. It was just her and I in the cabin. If we couldn't find somebody, she's like, ah, ya me lo robaron. Somebody stole it already. But this little tool, you scan it, it scans your frequencies, and it tells you what is the emotion that's being blocked and what is that fear base. And so being able to identify the feelings that we're feeling, because I know me as Latina, and a lot of minorities, we didn't have the privilege to talk about our emotions or feel. It was like, no, you get to work. You don't, you shut up and you get to work. And so by living in Wisconsin and having the privilege to go to AODA, to therapy and all that, right? Which it sounded like a punishment at the time, but that was actually a privilege to be able to sit down and talk about our emotions. I help identify what our emotions are, so that then we can explain our emotions without blaming and say, no, it's because you did this, you made me feel that way. Nobody can make you feel a certain way. Only we choose to feel a certain way based on our belief systems, on our past, and our subconscious and our history and all that. So we have the power to flip the emotions of blaming, so that we can resolve conflicts peacefully and strengthen our emotional connections. So that one is a real deep one. Emotional regulation, avoiding sugar, avoiding alcohol, avoiding drugs, obviously. Um, Smoking a little pot may like relax you a little. Um, but essential oils, and this bad boy has really helped me. Understand emotions, different various emotions. My gift is I pick up on emotions. And so for me, it was a real challenge to put myself on a cruise, because there's a lot of people on a small ship and I pick up on a lot of emotions. So I had to really learn how to shield my energy, but yet I wasn't like boring. Like, no, I'm not I wouldn't say that if you don't drink you're not boring, but be able to indulge in alcoholic beverages without being triggered. And so this cruise for me was like very empowering, because again, I had to learn how to shield myself emotionally. I didn't learn it on this cruise, but it was like at the test, right, that I went to, because in the past I feel everybody's emotions, I'll overdrink, make a fool out of myself, and I was able to like still shield myself, say okay, I need alone time to regroup, and learn how to set those boundaries and say okay, I need some alone time to regroup, and then still participate in fun activities, dancing, drinking, and lollygagging on a cruise. That's what the booze cruise. I mean, eat, sleep, drink, repeat. I did karaoke for the first time in public. So breaking through fears that no longer serve my highest purpose. So that's the power of regulating your emotions. These are tools that you can use if you are struggling. If you're someone who struggles with a lot of anger, I struggled with a lot of anger, with a lot of hate, with a lot of fear. Somebody who's broken or unbalanced in with their emotions will experience like mood swings. They can become defensive or shut down during discussions. They can frequently misunderstand tone or conversations. They may have unresolved conflicts, and it can cause a lot of strain on relationships. So how does it look when your emotions are toxic? When your emotion regulation is toxic, you will react explosively, unpredictably. That's how I was, explosive and unpredictable. I would overreact to every small mistake. I would display intense anger or blame, create fear, anxiety in the partner, and the partner feels a needs or feels like they're walking on eggshells. So definitely that is a survival mechanism that we've learned and we picked up, but now we don't need that. We're becoming conscious and mindful and aware, and we are awakening, to those patterns. They say once a player, always a player, once alcoholic, always an alcoholic. I do not believe that. I believe that once we have admitted the truth and acted accordingly, and through practice of healthier habits, we can then start switching those old behaviors, as long as we have an end goal that we're looking for, that we're trying um to obtain. And so that's that. I want you to think about, how is your accountability and your emotional regulation, and put it down in the comments. Let me know where you're at. um let's see, we are 52 minutes in. I'm so happy to be back. I was discombobulated a little bit, and throwing myself in, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna do the work, because I believe in you. I believe in empowering women. I believe in uplifting not just women, but our men. I have a son, I have a husband. I actually created this book because I got so toxic within myself, and then when I started to heal myself, I wanted to help my husband, and I was like, how do I explain this? How do I show him? And I started to put it in a book format. And well, he's not gonna read it. Well, he did actually. He wrote. So then I keep breaking it down to smaller and smaller, like cheat sheets. And so before I went on my cruise, I said, you said that you think that I don't love you anymore, and it's not that I don't love you. It's just that I'm healed, and I have self-love, self-respect, and I have boundaries. And I showed him this, and when I came back from my cruise, he's like, yeah, I read it. He's like, you're right. And now I see him reacting in healed ways, where it's not aggressive, it's not toxic, there's not resentment and stress and fear and doubt. It's faith, love, trust, joy. And that's what everybody wants. We want peace. We want peace in our love, in our life. And so I leave you with that, my friends. I love you. If you are interested in joining my retreat, we are having a women's wellness work retreat, a work and what is it called? A women's work and wellness retreat in Dominican Republic, January 7th through the 11th, 2025. Go on to my website to join us, to apply. We're looking for 10 women to come together for the purpose of healing, uplifting, and creating a vision board and an action plan to turn our dreams into reality. So it's not too late. Join me if you are a woman who is struggling in love, money, and in physical health, or just feeling a lost sense of purpose. This is the channel for you. Join me by subscribing. Click the notification bar so that you know when I'm going live. So sending you much love, and I'm ending the session, and I'll see you tomorrow with our next session in supportiveness and growth mindset, breaking free from toxic behaviors to turn our dreams into reality. We got this, girl. Bye.